As the company's star translator, I voluntarily gave up the translation opportunity for a billion-dollar project to the receptionist girl. All because in my previous life, my boyfriend's childhood sweetheart, Ji-Ku, who had dropped out of junior high school, suddenly claimed to have mastered 8 foreign languages through self-study. Every time I had to translate, I would spend days researching specialized terminology in advance. Yet, Ji-Ku could effortlessly provide simultaneous interpretation with 100% accuracy. Everyone praised her as a translation genius, while privately gossiping that I was an overrated fraud. It all came to a head when, after staying up late for 2 weeks preparing for the billion-dollar project presentation, Ji-Ku stopped me just before I took the stage. Sister Qiao-yi, this isn't the time for you to show off. This translation is crucial for the company's IPO. Your foundational skills aren't as solid as mine. Better let me handle it. Zhou Nian and our colleagues unanimously agreed with Ji-Ku's suggestion. I fought hard to keep the assignment, but I was forcibly replaced. Ji-Ku completed the translation flawlessly and became the company's hero. I, however, was transferred to a janitorial role for lack of professional competence. I couldn't understand how my decade of diligent study couldn't compare to Ji-Ku's overnight translation mastery. In a daze, I accidentally fell into water and drowned. Just before dying, I finally discovered that Ji-Ku had been translating by eavesdropping on my inner thoughts. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day Ji-Ku claimed to be fluent in 8 languages. This time, I didn't stay up late preparing translation materials. Instead, I turned around and started reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. Qiao-yi, congratulations. You're still first in this month's performance review. That's right. You've achieved a three-peat, haven't you? Colleagues gathered around, clapping and offering praise. Surrounded by the crowd, I felt momentarily dazed. The host cleared his throat and announced, "This month's top performer is once again Qiao-yi." Wait. Ji-Ku stepped out from the crowd. I signed up for this assessment too. Why not let me give it a try? Seeing the exact same scene as in my previous life, I couldn't help but shiver. Colleagues looked at Ji-Ku with skepticism. This isn't a joke. You've never studied translation. This field has a high barrier to entry. Ji-Ku pouted. I've been watching for a while, and it doesn't seem difficult at all. Who says I haven't studied? What if I taught myself 8 languages this month? Colleagues scoffed. Self-taught? Even Qiao-yi, our star translator, studied rigorously for 10 years. How could someone with zero foundation learn all that in a month? Stop making a fool of yourself. If you can translate a single sentence perfectly, I'll take your surname. Everyone laughed at Ji-Ku's delusional claims. No one took her seriously. Only I knew that in my previous life, in this exact scenario, Ji-Ku had indeed fluently translated 8 languages. Ji-Ku turned and clung to Zhou Nian's arm, whining, "Nian-gu, just let me try. I already signed up. If you don't let me participate, I might have to file a complaint." Zhou Nian, who usually valued academic credentials above all else, didn't object at all. Instead, he gazed at Ji-Ku affectionately. "Fine, you win. Give it a try." With Zhou Nian's approval, the host began testing Ji-Ku. Surprisingly, whether it was English or French, Ji-Ku translated every question quickly and accurately. The crowd's expressions shifted from mockery to amazement. For the final simultaneous interpretation test, as soon as the host finished speaking, Ji-Ku responded fluently in German. Affected by androgen receptor inhibitors, directly targeting the ligand-binding domain, can be used to directly treat patients with metastatic prostate cancer. The room erupted in applause. Ji-Ku, you've been hiding your skills. Your level is almost on par with Qiao-yi's. Someone asked curiously, even Qiao-yi, our star translator, sometimes needs pen and paper for simultaneous interpretation. How can you, a newcomer with no translation experience, be so fluent? Ji-Ku widened her eyes in fake surprise. Isn't translation just about saying what you hear directly? Qiao-yi might be getting older. Her memory naturally isn't as good as a younger person's. Needing notes is normal. Then she stuck out her tongue playfully. Sister Qiao-yi, was I too blunt? I didn't mean anything by it. Please don't take it to heart. I smiled. While Ji-Ku was translating, I had deliberately mistranslated a word in my mind. Ji-Ku had unknowingly repeated the incorrect word. Just as I suspected, Ji-Ku hadn't miraculously mastered 8 languages overnight. Recalling how Ji-Ku's eyes seemed unfocused while translating, I guessed that she couldn't control what she said during translation. She could only subconsciously repeat my inner thoughts. If that was the case, then I had a perfect gift for her. The host looked troubled. Well, Xiao Yi and Ji Ku are tied. So, who's this month's champion? Zhou Nian also frowned. Ji Ku smiled confidently. Since it's a tie, Sister Xiao Yi, I wonder if you'd be willing to compete with me? Ji Ku's suggestion drew everyone's attention. Just as Zhou Nian was about to speak, I smiled and said, no need. I forfeit. The room buzzed with surprise. Zhou Nian was taken aback. He knew how seriously I took my profession and had expected me to jump at the challenge. I repeated, I withdraw. What he didn't know was that in my previous life, I had confidently accepted the challenge. But every time I prepared to answer, Ji Ku spoke first. Unsurprisingly, Ji Ku won effortlessly, making my over a decade of hard work seem like a joke. There was no way I'd agree again. Ji Ku tried to provoke me. Sister Xiao Yi, you're the company's star translator. How can you be afraid to compete with a mere receptionist? Wouldn't that be embarrassing? Why don't you test me further? See what level I'm at. Can I match you? I replied calmly. Your skills are far superior to mine. You must be at least level 13. Ji Ku puffed out her chest proudly. Of course. With my level. Everyone burst out laughing. Haha. What kind of language proficiency test has a level 13? You. Ji Ku's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. She stomped her foot in frustration. Enough. Zhou Nian shouted, glaring at me disapprovingly. You should know when to stop joking. Just because you have a few certificates, you think you're something special? Bullying a young girl who doesn't know any better. Have some shame. I clenched my fists tightly. The laughter died down abruptly. The host forced a smile. How about, we declare both of you champions this month? Zhou Nian snapped. Both champions. Xiao Yi has studied for years, while Ji Ku only started self-studying this month. The difference is clear. Under Zhou Nian's direction, the host had no choice but to declare Ji Ku the champion. Everyone rushed to congratulate her. Ji Ku cheered and hugged Zhou Nian. Zhou Nian glanced at me, coughed awkwardly, and took a step back. I sneered inwardly. Leaning against Zhou Nian, Ji Ku smirked at me. Tao Shindug. Sister Xiao Yi, I've proven my skills. Can I join the business meeting this afternoon? I instinctively frowned. No. Ji Ku immediately teared up. Sister Xiao Yi, I know you look down on my education, but I've been studying translation day and night, just to help Nian Gu and contribute to the company. How could you deprive me of even this opportunity? Zhou Nian held her, his heart aching. Ji Ku only wants what's best for the company. Can't you be more tolerant? Colleagues chimed in, criticizing me. Xiao Yi, you're being selfish. Even if Ji Ku is talented, it doesn't threaten you. Yeah, can't you give a new employee a chance? You're being petty. Everyone blamed me for my attitude. I replied calmly. What I was going to say was, why not let her come along? She can learn from the experience. Only then did everyone awkwardly change the subject. Ji Ku looked at me meaningfully. Don't worry, Sister Xiao Yi. I'll learn well. That afternoon, we arrived at the meeting venue. The client, Manager Li, was a long-term partner of our company. Once both sides were seated, the meeting began. I listened intently, taking notes and marking key points. When the other side finished a paragraph in German, I took a deep breath, ready to translate. But from behind me came a fluent translation, used to treat patients who have undergone novel endocrine therapy, with significant improvement observed. Key points include overall survival and time to requiring cytotoxic chemotherapy. I turned around abruptly. Ji Ku, who was supposed to be observing, was rapidly translating. For the rest of the meeting, every time I prepared to speak, Ji Ku quickly took over. Throughout the entire translation session, I didn't get a single word in. Only when Ji Ku finished the final sentence did the room erupt in applause. Ji Ku pretended to be surprised, covering her mouth. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just here to observe. I got too absorbed and ended up translating without thinking. Sister Xiao Yi, please don't mind. Zhou Nian applauded excitedly. You did great. Why would she mind? Translation is all about skill. Manager Li also praised her. Usually, Xiao Yi handles our company's translations. For a newcomer to be so fluent, you must have prepared extensively for this meeting. Ji Ku smiled modestly. No preparation needed. Translation is just about saying what you hear, right? With practice, it becomes as instinctive as eating or drinking. Manager Li looked surprised. Xiao Yi is an experienced translator, yet she always requests our meeting materials a week in advance. You don't need any preparation at all. Ji Ku blinked innocently. Even though I'm new, I know everyone is busy. I wouldn't intentionally bother people for materials just to show off. Why drag out something that can be translated quickly, just to appear more professional? Hearing this, I frowned. Jiku was talking nonsense. As translators, we encounter specialized terminology from different industries all the time. Preparing in advance is a sign of professionalism and responsibility. It's essential for accurate translation. Before I could explain, Manager Lee's expression toward me shifted. From now on, Jiku will handle all our company's projects. Some people really know how to put on airs. Our company can't afford such attitudes. I stood there, speechless and unable to defend myself. Zhou eagerly agreed. Back at the company, Zhou praised Jiku excessively and announced that she was being promoted from receptionist to a full-time translator. That same day, Jiku was given her own private office. Zhou proudly declared that this was a reward for Jiku's outstanding performance during the business meeting. I sneered inwardly. I had successfully handled over 100 meetings of this scale without a single error. After working for 10 years, I still shared a cubicle with others. I never had my own office. I didn't say anything, quietly continuing my work. In the following translations, Jiku repeatedly stole the spotlight using the same method. I knew she relied on me to translate smoothly, so I didn't slack off. Instead, I prepared even more diligently. Finally, the day before the billion-dollar project presentation arrived. On the surface, I was still studying materials and researching terminology. A colleague rolled their eyes. If you don't have the skills, don't take on the task. Jiku translates effortlessly. What's the point of you pretending to work hard? You're just wasting everyone's time. Jiku also covered her mouth and laughed. Sister Qiao, what's the use of studying all this every day? She tapped her temple smugly. You've studied hard for over 10 years, yet you still can't match my 1 month of self-study. Surrounded by colleagues singing her praises, I frowned and pretended to hesitate. You're right. Arguing about this is pointless, I said. Since you're so capable, maybe I shouldn't even bother going. No. Jiku screamed in protest. Under everyone's confused stares, she forced a smile. I mean, such a big event would be a learning experience for Sister Qiao. It might come in handy someday. Zhou also frowned unhappily. What's with the attitude? Isn't it true that you can't match Jiku? Who do you think you're threatening by refusing to go? If you don't want to, then don't. I stayed silent. Jiku grew anxious. Niangu, please let Sister Qiao come. After all, I've never handled such a large meeting before. If she's there, we can learn from each other. Colleagues praised her generosity. Jiku, you're too kind. She always pretends to prepare extensively for translations, yet you still give her face. The only learning happening here is her learning from you. Jiku clung to Zhou, pleading repeatedly. Zhou reluctantly agreed. Fine. Only because of you. Jiku, will I give her another chance? You have 3 minutes to get ready, then head downstairs immediately. If you're even a second late, don't bother coming. Jiku stared at me intently, afraid I'd refuse. I replied leisurely, all right then. I'll go. Only then did Jiku relax. When we arrived at the meeting venue, and it was time for the translators to take their positions, Jiku stopped me. Wait, she said. I've been thinking, I should handle this translation. She spoke earnestly. For smaller events, I didn't mind letting you have the spotlight. But this translation is too important for you to show off. Sister Qiao, your foundational skills aren't as solid as mine. Let me handle it. Before I could respond, Zhou immediately agreed. Well said. This meeting is crucial for the company. There's no room for error. Qiao, you should thank Jiku for stepping up to cover for you. If your translation mistakes jeopardize the company's IPO, you'll be seen as a traitor to the company. How will you explain that to the board? I sneered. Decades of study and work experience, yet she made it sound worthless. When the company was first established, I handled 4 or 5 translations a day, standing for 8 or 9 hours at a time, helping the company build a strong reputation in the industry. Now, I was being treated like a traitor. Jiku stole my job, yet I was supposed to be grateful to her? When I didn't react, colleagues also mocked me. Really, Qiao? Are you actually trying to compete with Jiku for this translation? Jiku only brought you along so you could learn. Don't be so ungrateful. Not only is Jiku more professionally skilled than you, but she's also easier on the eyes. Look at you. Those dark circles make you look like a panda. I touched the dark circles under my eyes, a result of staying up late researching. In my previous life, I would have argued fiercely. But now, I glanced around and smiled. I have no objections. I just hope you'll take responsibility for your choice and not regret it. Colleagues laughed, saying I was overthinking it. Zhou Yin snorted dismissively. I'm the one who put her on stage. If there are any issues, I'll take full responsibility. I didn't argue, stepping aside to let Ji Ke take my place. Ji Ke blinked at me. Sister Qiao Yi, you used to stand here all the time, complaining whenever I got close. You're so quiet today, it feels strange. But you have to admit, talent varies from person to person. It took you 12 years to reach this position, but I made it here in just a month. Now, watch and learn how real translation is done. I ignored her. The meeting began, and Ji Ke confidently took her seat as the translator. Zhou Yin and my colleagues cheered her on from below. A moment later, Ji Ke's expression turned serious. Her intense focus made Zhou Yin sigh in admiration. Ji Ke was born for this job. She gives her all in everything she does. Colleagues nodded in agreement. But the next moment, Ji Ke began speaking. Namo hilada na duo la yi, namo a li yi. Instantly, everyone in the room stared in shock. A look of panic flashed across Ji Ke's face, but she couldn't stop herself from reciting a long passage of Buddhist scripture. Her voice echoed through the venue via the microphone. The audience was stunned by the sudden stream of scripture. What is this? Manager Zhang, the host of the meeting, turned livid. What kind of joke is this? We're here for a translation, not a funeral. We don't need chanting here. Zhou Yin broke out in a cold sweat, rushing forward to apologize profusely. I'm so sorry. This is our company's new translator. She might be nervous. Let me talk to her. The executives in the room looked furious. Zhou Yin hurried over to Ji Ke, whispering through gritted teeth, What are you saying? I asked you to translate, not chant scriptures. Ji Ke was also terrified. I don't know what happened. As soon as I opened my mouth, Zhou Yin hissed, Do you have any idea how important this is for the company? How could you make such a basic mistake? Ji Ke's eyes welled up with tears. I didn't mean to. Why are you yelling at me? Zhou Yin rubbed his temples, exasperated. Our colleagues were also dumbfounded. Ji Ke's performance today was nothing like before. Who would dare mess up at such a high-level meeting? Was she trying to ruin her career? Worse, Ji Ke's mistakes could seriously damage the entire company. Regret washed over my colleagues. If they had known Ji Ke was so unreliable, they would never have agreed to let her translate. Someone cautiously suggested, maybe, we should switch to Qiao Yi now. There might still be time. Zhou Yin hesitated, about to speak. But Ji Ke pouted, on the verge of tears again. Nian Ge, it was my first time in such a big setting. I was just nervous. Can't you give me another chance? Don't you believe in me? Zhou Yin wiped her tears away and sighed. Of course I believe you. All right, one more chance. But no more mistakes, understood? Ji Ke immediately brightened, giving Zhou Yin a playful salute. Yes, sir. Mission accomplished. Don't worry, I'll translate perfectly this time. Zhou Yin couldn't help but smile softly. Stop crying. You look like a little mess. A colleague nearby hesitated. Manager Zhou, this meeting is so important. Shouldn't we let Qiao Yi? Zhou Yin cut them off sharply. Everyone starts as a beginner. It's normal to be nervous in such situations. Should we deny newcomers opportunities to grow? Let me make this clear. Switching translators now would only play into certain people's hands. I want everyone to know that our company doesn't depend on just one person. Translation is something anyone can do. Zhou Yin's words were clearly aimed at me. Colleagues shot me meaningful looks, urging me to step up and replace Ji Ke. I pretended not to notice, shrugging without a word. A colleague, unable to hold back, spoke up. Qiao Yi, don't you have anything to say? I played dumb. No. Manager Zhou's decision must be well considered. I fully support whatever arrangement he makes. Zhou Yin snorted coldly, but said nothing more. Ji Ke shot me a wary glance, muttering to herself, Don't worry. This time, I'll focus and won't make any mistakes. My colleagues wanted to object, but, seeing Zhou Yin's determination, could only watch helplessly as Ji Ke returned to the translator's seat. The meeting had already been delayed by 5 minutes. The attending representatives were visibly displeased. Zhou Yin signaled to the host to resume. Once on stage, Ji Ke closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and began translating again. But as soon as she opened her mouth, the room was stunned once more. This time, she wasn't reciting the Great Compassion Mantra. She had switched to the Earth Store Sutra. Ji Ke unconsciously chanted the scriptures rapidly, her voice amplified throughout the venue. The monotonous chanting grated on everyone's nerves. Shut up. Stop it. Someone shouted angrily. How annoying. What's the meaning of this? Trying to send us all off? This is so unlucky. Bang. Manager Zhang stood up abruptly, slamming his teacup onto the table. The room fell silent, except for Ji Ke's ongoing chanting. Manager Zhang's face was unreadable. Zhou Yan, is your company trying to sabotage this meeting? Zhou Yan's legs trembled as he tried to explain. Manager Zhang, please let me explain. But Manager Zhang had lost all patience. He pointed at the door. Get out. Now. Zhou Yan panicked, sweating profusely. Manager Zhang, please, give our company another chance. You know how important this meeting is for us. It's crucial for the companies. Manager Zhang laughed coldly. You know it's important? From the looks of it, I'd think we were holding a funeral, and you brought someone to mourn for us. Get out immediately. Oh, and one more thing. He pointed at Ji Ke, still chanting on stage. Take this unlucky person with you. From now on, neither of you is allowed anywhere near me. No matter how much Zhou Yan begged, Manager Zhang ignored him, calling security to escort them out. Realizing there was no saving the situation, Zhou Yan collapsed to the floor, letting security drag him away. Only when I stopped reciting scriptures in my mind did Ji Ke snap back to reality. When she realized what she had done, her face turned deathly pale. She rushed toward me, eyes wide with rage. It was you. You witch, you set me up. She screamed. You deliberately made me chant scriptures during the translation, didn't you? I smiled faintly. Explain yourself clearly. Your own translation skills are lacking. How dare you blame me? Did I force you to chant scriptures? What does this have to do with me? Ji Ke grew frantic. How is it not your fault? If you hadn't been reciting scriptures in your mind, I wouldn't have. My eyes turned cold. Oh, what I think in my mind is my business. Unless you can hear my thoughts? Ji Ke stammered, unable to finish her sentence. Security, called by Manager Zhang, dragged her away. After venting his anger, Manager Zhang immediately called for another translator. Upon learning that the nearest available translator would take at least 30 minutes, Manager Zhang frowned. Then, his gaze fell on me. Having worked with me before, Manager Zhang knew my capabilities. He asked if I would be willing to step in as the translator for the meeting. I didn't refuse. Taking a deep breath, I took my seat at the translator's table. Thanks to the thorough preparation I had done in my previous life, this translation was no challenge for me. As Ji Ke was being dragged away by security, she overheard my thoughts and suddenly cried out excitedly. I know how to translate now. Give me another chance. Listen. But no one believed her anymore. Annoyed by her noise, a security guard shoved a rag into her mouth. Wide-eyed, she could only whimper, unable to speak. With no further interruptions, I focused entirely on the translation, efficiently and accurately conveying every word and sentence. After the meeting, Manager Zhang even offered me a position at his company. After some hesitation, I declined. Manager Zhang didn't push further, handing me his business card and telling me to contact him if I changed my mind. When I returned to my company, Zhou Yan, Ji Ke, and a group of employees were already waiting for me. Xiao Yi, the board of directors is furious about what happened today. You'd better think of an explanation, Zhou Yan said coldly. I could hardly believe my ears. An explanation? What do I need to explain? What does today have to do with me? If the board wants to assign blame, it shouldn't fall on me. Ji Ke was the translator today, and that was a collective decision. Even if there's accountability, it's not my responsibility. Zhou Yan frowned. There's no need for that attitude. We're all part of the same company. If something goes wrong, do you think you can just walk away unscathed? I shrugged. Of course I can. You made the decision, and Ji Ke was the one chanting scriptures. The responsibility lies with you and her. Zhou Yan took a deep breath, softening his tone. Xiao Yi, you know Ji Ke's qualifications didn't meet company standards when she was hired. If she's implicated in this, she won't be able to stay at the company. Besides, the consequences of today are severe. The board has formed an investigation committee and plans to impose fines on those involved. You know Ji Ke's salary is much lower than yours. Why don't you take the blame for her? It's not like you haven't saved up over the years. Colleagues chimed in, trying to persuade me. Yeah, Xiao Yi, your salary is several times higher than Ji Ke's. Covering for her shouldn't be a big deal. You're still the company's star translator. The company won't punish you too harshly, just a light warning. So that's what this was about. They were looking for a scapegoat. They weren't just defending Ji Ke. They were worried that their collective decision to let her translate would lead to serious consequences. If the investigation dug deeper, everyone would face penalties. That's why they were so eager to pin everything on me. What a clever plan. I smiled sarcastically. You're right, it's not much money. But for Jiku, it would be a burden. Everyone nodded eagerly. Exactly. That's the spirit. Zhou Yin also smiled. See, it's not a big deal. You're being reasonable. I continued slowly. Since you all think it's not a big deal, why don't you take responsibility yourselves? You can pay the fines. Zhou Yin's smile froze. What do you mean? Didn't you hear what I just said? I heard you perfectly, I said, meeting his gaze. Didn't you say it's not a big deal? Then why won't you take the blame yourselves? What's wrong? When it comes to you, suddenly it's not so easy. Zhou Yin finally lost his temper, revealing his true colors. Are you deaf? Why are you being so difficult? We're colleagues. We should help each other. Besides, as the translator, it makes the most sense for you to take the fall for Jiku. Let me make this clear. Whether you agree or not, you're taking the blame. Just see who the board believes, you or all of us. With that, Zhou Yin left arrogantly with Jiku. My heart turned cold. It didn't matter whether I agreed or not. They had already decided to make me the scapegoat. But their plan was doomed to fail. The next morning, the investigation committee from headquarters arrived early. During questioning, Zhou Yin and my colleagues unanimously blamed me. If Xiao Yi hadn't thrown a tantrum at the last minute and refused to translate, Jiku wouldn't have been forced to step in. It was Jiku's first time in such a high-pressure situation. She was nervous, which led to the mistakes. Actually, Jiku is a victim too. If it weren't for Xiao Yi, the company wouldn't have become a laughingstock. Director He, leading the investigation, frowned and asked if this was true. I shook my head. That's nonsense. Jiku immediately teared up. Sister Xiao Yi, I know you blame me for not performing well, but I'm not as experienced as you. Besides, you kept all the translation materials to yourself and never let me see them. I had no choice but to wing it on stage. Director He looked annoyed. As a translator, researching specialized terminology beforehand is fundamental. How could you force someone to translate without letting them prepare? That's setting them up for failure. Jiku wiped her tears and bowed deeply. It's okay. I'm used to it. Today's incident caused trouble for the company. If the company decides to punish or fire me, I'll accept it. Colleagues eagerly added more accusations. Director He, Xiao Yi has always bullied newcomers, flaunting her status as the star translator. The company finally found someone talented like Jiku, but Xiao Yi wouldn't let her participate in any events, afraid of being overshadowed. Not just that. To keep Jiku from outshining her, Xiao Yi refused to share translation materials or offer any guidance. If anything, she made things harder for Jiku. With every word, Director He's expression darkened. Xiao Yi, do you have anything to say in your defense? I have nothing to say. However, I raised the voice recorder in my hand. Please listen to the recording from that day before making a judgment. The moment I pulled out the recorder, Zhou Yin's face turned pale. He rushed over, grabbing my wrist and hissing, "What are you doing? You recorded it. Are you trying to ruin me?" I found it laughable. Carrying a recorder is standard practice for translators. Besides, if I hadn't recorded everything that day, how could I prove my innocence today? You talk about ruining you? Weren't you the ones trying to frame me first? I stepped forward to play the recording. Zhou Yin's expression turned pleading. Xiao Yi, you know what falsifying evidence means. The company will only punish you more severely. I've worked so hard to get to this position. How could you let me get fired? What's wrong with taking the blame? We've been together for years. Weren't we planning to get married next year? Can't you do this one favor for me? How dare he say that? I shook off his hand and sneered. Dream on. Marriage? From the moment you defended Jiku, there was no future for us. You're the one who hired Jiku despite her lack of qualifications. You're the one who decided to put her on stage without proper certification. Now you're scared? Why didn't you think twice back then? Before Zhou Yin could respond, I handed the recorder to the investigation committee. As the recording played, the truth of that day was revealed. When they heard Zhou Yin insisting on switching translators and claiming full responsibility, Director He slammed the table in anger. Is this the kind of decision-making we expect from management? Zhou Yin stood silently, his face pale. The recording didn't just cover the incident. It also included evidence of Zhou Yin abusing his authority to favor Jiku. Every Weigui decision Zhou Yin made for Jiku was exposed. Director He's expression grew increasingly serious. Xiao Yi, we understand the situation now. Don't worry, we won't wrong any employee who contributes to the company, he said firmly. And we certainly won't let anyone who harms the company get away with it. With the matter clarified, I prepared to leave. But Ji Ke chased after me, unleashing a torrent of accusations. Are you happy now, after ruining me like this? You're just jealous of my relationship with Nian Ge, so you did everything you could to get me fired. I'll have you know, even if I leave the company, Nian Ge will still be mine. He'll never leave me. Seeing Ji Ke's provocative expression, I simply smiled. Ji Ke grew even more agitated. You don't believe me? I'm telling you, nothing can tear us apart. Not even you. My smile widened. I believe you. Of course I do. Don't worry, he's all yours. No one's fighting you for him. You're right. Even if you leave the company, he'll be with you. After making such serious mistakes, the company will surely sue both of you. Most likely, you'll end up in prison together. No one will separate you there. With that, I turned and walked away. Ji Ke wasn't wrong. This was one way of staying together. Keeping each other company in prison counted, didn't it? The next day, the penalties for Zhou Yin and Ji Ke were announced. The company officially filed lawsuits against both of them. Due to the severity of their mistakes and the significant damage to the company's reputation, their actions were deemed deliberate sabotage. The company demanded astronomical compensation from them. If they couldn't pay within the given time frame, they would indeed end up in prison together, just as I predicted. The other employees involved also faced penalties based on their level of responsibility. Everyone was desperate to distance themselves from Zhou Yin and Ji Ke. I sighed. If only they had thought twice before making those decisions. I submitted my resignation soon after. Despite the company's repeated attempts to retain me, I insisted on leaving. I contacted manager Zhang's company using the business card he'd given me. They responded quickly, offering me double my previous salary. I completed the onboarding process without delay. 2 months passed, and I had fully settled into my new role. I next heard about Zhou Yin and Ji Ke from a new colleague. Unable to pay the astronomical compensation, both had been sent to prison. Rumor had it that during the trial, before the judge even announced the verdict, Ji Ke had nervously shouted out the exact contents of the sentencing document. People speculated whether she had some kind of foresight, but she would never have the chance to use such an ability again. I no longer wasted energy worrying about them. My life was just beginning.